Hi gang, Rob here. It's the morning of 5 October 2015, and one of the beauties of working from home, sharpening full-time, is that I get to help Heidi with some of the dinner preparation. And it's about 11 o'clock in the morning, and taking a little break before the post office run from sharpening, and I'm making chili for tonight. So I thought I would show you guys how I do that. And I'm not going to print a recipe. I never write down my chili recipe, so you're just going to have to watch and approximate. So it is a meat and bean chili, and it has some chili in it, by the way. And I'm going to tell you what we're starting with. First, I use two meats, and I don't use any of it ground. These are boneless country style ribs. I'm just going to dice up into 3/4 of an inch chunks and put in my chili. This is beef, and guys, you can use whatever cuts of meat are cheap, because these things are going to slow cook these little chunks, and over time they're just going to dissolve in the chili. This is just a little round steak. I got about 10 ounces of beef and a good pound of pork. And that fat from the pork is going to help our chili get yummy. And let's see. Let's talk about chilies. I've got 4 poblanos, 6 sort of medium-sized jalapenos, 3 cayennes, and 2 habaneros. And I'll get to a word of caution about the habaneros when it's time to use those. Alrighty. There will be some tomato in this chili. I'm going to use 2 of this year's tomatoes from the garden, and about 2 more frozen from last year's harvest. I've got half of a white large onion. And let's see, I can't really show you these too well. I'm going to use 2 30.5 ounce cans of Brooks chili hot beans. And then for spices, I'm going to use some of this delicious already minced garlic packed in water with some citric acid. This is the Costco brand. We buy it in bulk, as you can see. There will be a small can of tomato paste in the chili. And then to taste, a little chili powder and salt and pepper with a little ground cumina. So let's get started hacking stuff up, shall we? First, we'll start with the beef. And I'm just going to cut this in, not quite 1-inch chunks. And guys, I'm in the kitchen, so I'm not using a Sabenza. I'm using a kitchen knife. Just frankly, not a very good quality Cuisinart 8-inch chef's knife. It came with my wife. And the pork. Wow. That's some monstrous pork. I'm not quite sure how we're going to attack this. Let's try it like this. Filleting the pig. It's going to be some meaty chili, guys. Yes, we are carnivores in the Bixby house. Omnivores, I guess. Okay, that's it for the meat. Now, I'm going to put a little sear on this beef and pork. So, I'm going to do that with a little salt and pepper and a little garlic in a hot skillet. So I better get that skillet hot. Okay, the skillet is heating up with a little olive oil. You know, there's any number of ways to dice an onion. I like to have it and then cut off, after I have it, then I cut off the top, peel it, and then I use the sort of radial method. Okay, then just go in and finish my dice. The layers of the onion sort of control the size for me. Whoa, we have onion disintegration. Okay. So my onion, my beef and pork, and my garlic are all going to get a quick sear. And I'm going to start with the meat. I'm not going to bring you over. I'm just going to take the cutting board and throw it in the skillet. Be right back. I'm going to get that meat going a little bit before I throw the onion in with it. Yes, I know I have meat juices on my cutting board. We won't be at this that long, so it doesn't matter. Tomatoes are going to get just quartered. And thrown in the food processor. What we're going to end up with the tomatoes is sort of a chunky puree. And we're going to put the frozen ones in with it. You guys hear that meat sizzling? Just going to pulse this till we get the right consistency. So there's what we've got. So in the crock pot that goes. Better give my meat a stir. Okay, pepper time, guys. Start with the poblanos. I'm going to leave my seeds in everything except the poblanos just because they don't really bring much to the party. But I want the heat from the rest of my peppers that the seeds provide. The way I do poblanos is I just sort of have them, and then I try to lay them out flat. Look at that, got myself. Cut them into strips. And then put a dice on them, a little rough chop. Try to keep those separate from the onions. Sort of want to keep your diced peppers all the same size, fairly small. And I'll be back in a little, show you about cutting up peppers with heat. Okay, I think my meat is getting a sear on to the point where it's time to put the onions in. So we're not quite where we want to be, but that's okay because we're going to sweat these onions a little bit. You know, that wasn't the brightest idea in the world. So at this point in the process, we're going to give this meat a couple ingredients to keep it happy. I don't know, what is that, about 5 cloves of garlic? Oh, that's so much easier than cutting it up yourself. And a little salt, probably a good solid teaspoon at this point. A little black pepper, maybe half a teaspoon. Ground cumin, I'm going to be a little more judicious with this. Maybe half a teaspoon, maybe not quite. And some chili powder. That'll never do. A good solid teaspoon of chili powder. And that's going to go back on the heat, and we're going to finish getting everything happy before we throw it in the crock pot. Okay, we're going to cut up the cayennes, the jalapenos, and the habaneros. And do not do this, guys, without rubber gloves. Especially the habaneros. If you have a cut like I do, or if you decide it'd be a good time to rub your eyes or scratch your nose while you have the capsaicin from the habaneros on your skin, you will not be happy at all. So we'll get these guys on someday. Okay, so again, we're just gonna cut our peppers up sort of to match the size of the diced onion and the diced poblanos. So I'm gonna quarter these jalapenos. And yes, the seeds will stay in. And all my peppers with heat. And I won't cut up all 6 of those with you guys. And here's one of the habaneros. These sort of get cut in strips, very much like the poblanos, before cross-cutting them. It's okay to get a little small on your habaneros. Some people get a little bit of a start when they bite into a huge chunk of habanero. One thing I didn't mention, I do not sear my peppers with my meat and my onions because the blast of habanero steam will take your breath away. Sometimes for quite a little bit. Give that one another julienne. Oh, I think I just cut my glove off. That could be bad. Gotta check my meat. That's about where we want it, guys. Got a nice little sear on that meat, and my onions are translucent. Got some juices working. The salt cuts loose the juices from the meat. We're going to go ahead and put that in a crock pot. All right. And let's cut up a cayenne for you. I do like to split these if possible. So why do I use 4 types of peppers? Well, I do that for depth. The poblanos are almost like a bell pepper. Just a little bit of smoky heat, but lots of pepper flavor. The jalapenos, again, a very flavorful pepper with kind of a range of heat. The cayenne is a pretty smoking hot little sucker, but with lots of depth of flavor. And then the habanero, as you guys know, pretty much pure dry burn. And the 3 peppers that have heat all sort of hit your mouth in different places. My kids refer to this chili as one bowl chili. That means usually, although you love it, after one bowl, you're ready for a glass of milk. You know, chili and barbecue, and you know, everybody thinks they make great chili and great barbecue, and few people really do. You know, there's as many different kinds of chili as there are people. I've sort of just developed this over the years, and when we started growing our own peppers, I think it sort of got taken to a different level. I really like, and I guess most of the people who eat my chili do too, the idea of using chunked unground meat, because the way it sort of dissolves away when the chili becomes leftovers is so cool. It just gets bodied, you know, the character changes and gets deeper every time you get it out and microwave a bowl of it. And it just seems a little, I don't know, a little dressier. So all the peppers going in the crock pot. Look at all that. That's 4 different kinds of peppers, and that takes up a lot of room in the chili. This is not fooling around chili, my friends. Okay. Move some of this stuff out of the way. Maybe bring the crock pot a little closer. Can you guys see that? There we go. Where'd my spoon go? There it is. And the last ingredient are the beans. Kind of got to be careful with these beans. You don't want to over stir this chili because the Brooks beans are already quite cooked, and they'll sort of dissolve away to nothing in your chili also. Okay. You know, that was a mistake right there. Those gloves should have been in the garbage by now. Gotta wash my hands before I pick up that spoon again. Let's try that. I'm not sure I really want any part of that spoon handle. So we're going to stir this, bring it all together. And it's going to look, right now, a little chunky. But as that progresses over the course of the afternoon, it's going to get a little thinner, and then it'll get thicker when the beans start to break down and the meat starts to break down. This chili is best about 3 days out. All right, I will bring you back when I take this stuff out of the crock pot and into a bowl, and you can see how it looks. Too bad you won't be able to taste it. See you in a few hours, my friends. Okay guys, here we are about 5.5, 6 hours later in the crock pot on low, on warm for about the last hour. Give it a stir. Try to get a little beef and a little pork in here. That's what we got. By the way, in case you were wondering, yeah, I did forget to put the tomato paste in when I shut the camera off. But it's in there now. One whole small can. Let's see. Oh, it's hot. Guys, that smell take your breath away. Oh yeah. See little bits of cayenne in there. Jalapeno poblano. Onion. It hits all the bases. Might need a little salt before I serve it. Maybe not. Oh, guys. That's about what it needs in the crock pot too. 5 to 6 hours. Let that meat soak up the flavor from the chilies. Get everything nicely blended. The flavors are so deep. I think you'll really like that combination of beef and pork. Oh yeah. Well, there you go, guys. Chili TheApostleP style. Guys, wow. That's all for today, my friends. Grace to you and peace from God our Father and the Lord Jesus Christ. And remember the word, and Rob's chili are sharp.